Hi, my name is Jessica, and today I'm reviewing a board game called Brandon the Brave. Here we go, in English. This is a hobby game. All hobby games come in these bright yellow boxes, and they are made in Germany. This game is for ages 5 and up and 2 to 4 players. Brandon the Brave is about you as each player being a knave, and you are knaves of Conrad the Confused. Now, even though you're knaves of Conrad the Confused, you are aspiring to become a full-blown knight, not like Conrad, but like Brandon the Brave. Now, Brandon the Brave is a character, and I have no idea who he is. Now, why I say that is there is no piece in this game of Brandon the Brave. He doesn't exist. His name doesn't appear in this game outside of the title. And there is no mechanism or anything in this game that has anything to do with Brandon the Brave. The only thing is you are trying to complete tasks, and the first person to complete all the tasks wins, and then in theory you would be promoted to becoming a knight for the king in the kingdom. So I have wondered with this game, was there a knight, a historical figure named Brandon the Brave, like in history or in a book or a movie, and he's famous and everybody knows who Brandon the Brave is except for me? That is possible. If so, why don't you put that in the comments below and enlighten me why this guy gets a game named after him, but he appears nowhere in the game. On the contrary, I do find it also a bit odd that the fanciest piece in this game, the biggest, chunkiest piece with the most detail, is of a full-blown knight, Conrad the Confused, whose basic function, all he does in this game, is he's going around the board looking for his missing horse that keeps moving, and that's why he's so confused. So a little confusing and a little disappointing that the knight, the character that would be portraying the highest interest for little boys and girls who are playing this game, the one who is supposed to exemplify bravery and nobility and be a role model, is just a very confused looking person who does nothing in this game but look for his horse. And furthermore, Conrad the Confused looking for his horse is kind of on the sidelines. It just does a little something with how the game gets set up and slightly modifies the player's turns once in a while, but it has virtually nothing to do with winning or losing the game and the whole point of the game. So just to start off with that weirdness, Conrad the Confused and Brandon the Brave don't really have anything to do with the game. In the game, what's actually going on is you are setting up your own playing area uniquely each time, and you're going to do that with these triangular pieces. This is the back. They come in a stack, and each turn you will draw a piece, and then you can play it on the board so long as it's conjoined with another piece in any configuration that works, as long as it makes sense. So if you have a piece like this, for example, it has 2 plain countrysides and a blue X. So you can put that with another piece that has a plain countryside, such as this piece right here. You could put it like that, or like that, or like that. You could not put it like that, however, but you could put it like this, which is actually the goal of the game, because every time you can locate on the board a place where your X's make a complete square, you can then find one of your tasks. This is yellow and red. One that would be like blue. This is blue and red. So you could take this blue one, flip it over, and you have now completed the task. So let's take a look at the tasks for just a moment here. I want to show you what each of these pieces look like. As a knave, what are some brave things that you would want to do to prove that you are ready to become a knight? Well, you might do something like bring back the giant, find the treasure, bring back this guy who's all tied up in rope. He must be a thief or something. Another thing that you might do, which is kind of interesting, is, oh, I got a couple of them here, is rescue the princess. I don't know if she ran away or what. Here's the one I wanted to show you. This one and this one I'll get to in a sec. This is the dragon. Okay, so I'm going to take off a half a point for the dragon. Dragons to me represent the devil. That's what they are in the Bible. And for many years, I really disliked, almost say I hate dragons. I'm not interested in people's dragon collections. I'm not interested in dragon movies. I'm not interested in what is fictitious. And many times dragons are portrayed as being very scary and evil. They're often highly detailed with grotesque faces. And people get really into that. I guess they look cool or whatever, but not my thing and not what I'm going to be introducing and focusing on in time with my children. So because this dragon he's cartoonish, he looks kind of scared. I mean, he's being brave, he's fighting the dragon. I don't take a major issue with this. I'm going to take off half a point because it's dragon theme, but I personally don't take a major issue with this really because my thoughts on dragons have changed over the years. Now, I still feel the same way about the grotesque, scary ones. However, if you ever had a chance to get into some creation science, there is a video presentation in particular that I really like. It's about dinosaurs, and it's part of the creation series that was put out by Kent Hovind. He did an excellent job. It's a good decade, maybe 2 decades old by now. So don't worry that maybe his clothes are out of style, or don't worry that the videography isn't up to today's standards. If you can get your hands on that and have an opportunity to watch it, it was the most fascinating thing I ever saw about dinosaurs from a Christian perspective. For example, did you know that there are today insects that shoot a chemical combination out of their mouth that resembles fire? And there are fish that can shoot feet into the air to out of their mouths to catch insects. So there are animals, creatures that are able to shoot things out of their mouths, even things that resemble fire. So it is actually possible that there was something that resembled a fire-breathing dragon in the world's history, a fire-breathing dinosaur. And the fact that somebody brave needed to go out and slay the dragon may not be completely as far-fetched and fictitious as I thought. So that's kind of changed my point of interest about dragons a little bit. So now it really depends on the context of the dragon. And in this case, this is actually what I would consider an appropriate context and use of the dragon. So I don't take a big issue with it, but because this is Christian, if you are trying to avoid dragons, we'll just take off half a point right there. Now this one is the witch. This one is more of an issue for me. I don't think I knew that there was going to be a witch in this game, or I probably just went to bought it because there are so many games out there. Even though this game is pretty great otherwise, we have enough options. We don't have to make compromises. So what I do think is good, okay, so I'm not into witches or witchcraft at all. I need to explain what true witches are and what witchcraft is all about to my children at an appropriate age, at an appropriate time, in the way I want to. Not because I'm forced to, because it appeared in a game unexpectedly. But what is good about this that helps a little bit is that in this game, this is not glorifying witches. It's not making them seem really special or interesting. You're not trying to become a witch. We're not talking about magic or casting spells or anything like that. In fact, the witch is kind of right here in the category with the bad guy, with the giant, who we don't really know if he's a bad guy or what, but maybe he is. So I guess we're portraying this as the witch is somebody bad who needs to be chased out of the kingdom or needs to be captured or something like that. So that was something that we could kind of have a conversation with and make it work. But other times it was just easier to remove all the witch pieces from the game, because especially if you don't have 4 players, you can easily play the game by just omitting those pieces completely. Game still works. So getting back now to the triangle pieces, I liked these a lot. These are quite interesting, quite adventurous, imaginative. I took no issue with any of them. Here we have a hayfield or a haystack. We have a windmill. Trees. This is part of a jousting circle. That's part of the strategy of the game, is you can complete all the pieces by being the one who puts in the 6th piece with the jousting circle. You can also complete one of your tasks by laying it in the middle. But there is actually no jousting in this game. There's really no violence in this game. The knave is holding a sword and he's chasing people and bringing them back to the kingdom. Let's see, what else do we have in here? There are some pieces that have mountains, cottages, rivers, waterfalls. They're quite interesting little pieces. And then we have the horse that Conrad the Confused keeps chasing around. And these horse pieces appear and they move his position and they give you an extra turn if you land next to them. Really wasn't a necessary part of the game. Interesting that it's a focus, but I guess it adds a little point of interest, and it is innocent. There's no violence involved there. Here's the waterfall piece. So I'm going to give it a 4.5 for it being fun, and I'm going to give it a 3.5 for it being Christian. Now I'm going to tell you just a little bit more about what happened when we played this game personally in our family. After we played this game a few times, I got the idea, or the kids asked me to, I can't remember which way this went, and it may have been my idea as a result of me trying to mitigate the situation with the witch, that I ended up starting to tell stories. So what would happen is we would lay out these triangle pieces, and here's this guy pulling the wagon. Okay, well, we're going to go and talk to him. Hey, have you seen a giant? And then a little later, maybe we find the giant, he was hiding in the haystack, or maybe we find the thief, the bad guy who was hiding in the waterfall, or we stop at the waterfall to get a drink. I'm not naturally really a fantastic storyteller, especially when I'm coming off the top of my head, but I tried to dig deep, and I did the best I could to tell an innocent yet interesting story to my kids. I would have some story about why the princess needed to be rescued. Maybe she had run away a few times, and oh, what was the king going to say when we brought her back to the palace? One time we had the giant come back to the palace, and then he decided he and the king got along so great, he was going to take on the job of being the king's butler, and from there on afterwards, and lived happily ever after. Or maybe the bad guy, he was a thief and he was hiding treasure, and it was in the hayfield, and then he had to live in the dungeon. Well, okay, so my kids loved that. If you are a really good storyteller, you could transform this game into something that is not even in the directions. Storytelling is not part of the game according to the instructions, so it's not required at all to play this game. But it does present itself as a really easy opportunity if you're somebody who is good at storytelling. Now, looking back at the stories I told, I tried to make them innocent, but I can kind of realize even now as I'm explaining it, that doing so probably went against some of my principles that I'm trying to convey here on my channel, which is I'm trying to honor God's word. And I don't want to do anything that's commandment breaking for the sake of just pure entertainment. So we don't want to glorify and really focus on the fact that somebody is a thief, or somebody was lying, somebody is stealing, somebody is a bad guy. We're going to put them in the dungeon, somebody's a witch. This game kind of just could, if you go that route with the storytelling or kids' imaginations, it can kind of lead you into that path where you think those things are exciting. So I'm not sure that telling those stories was the best idea, but if I had planned ahead, if I could rethink it, I could have told them in a way that was character building. We've read so many wonderful character building stories since then. I probably would know how to do that at this point, but at the time it was kind of spur of the moment. So I don't know, you can decide if the storytelling thing was good or bad, or how you might do it, because you could really make those stories as innocent or as not innocent. You know, you could really play up some of that bad stuff. It just depends on who you are and what you want to do with it. My child is, oh, he's trying to help. Thank you, dear. Okay, so he just gave me a piece back that I dropped on the floor. Thank you. I'm always dropping things on the floor when I'm doing these videos. So again, storytelling is not a required part of this game at all. You can totally do it without it, but if you have that personality where you're a really great storyteller, this might be a point of interest for you in this game because you can do that. What ended up happening for us is the kids then wanted me to do that every time because they enjoyed it so much, and after 2 or 3 times of playing it that way, I was exhausted. I had no storytelling left in me, and I just kind of wanted to play the game. And that may be sort of why it ended up fizzling out for us, because I just didn't have the energy to turn it into a production every time. So this game is recommended for ages 5 to 99. In reality, I would say you can start at age 4 or 4.5, and you would probably end at age 7 or maybe age 8. So my kids are age 6 and 8. They got it when they were 4 and 5 or 4 and 6, and we got a couple good years out of this game. They would still play it, but I haven't seen them get it out on their own for a while now. So it has kind of a short window in there where you're going to want to play the game. So those are my thoughts on Brandon the Brave. I think that's everything I wanted to say. This is like my 4th take at the video because I thought I made mistakes the first few times. Yes, my hair is sticking up. I worked on that quite a lot. There's like 5 hair products in my hair and a bunch of water, and I couldn't help it. My hair is sticking up. So that's that. Have a wonderful day, and hopefully this video will help you make the right choice so you're not wasting your money on games. Just keep in mind, you do not have to buy every game out there. I have just a fraction. There are thousands of games available, especially if you include games that you can buy at eBay or garage sales or the Goodwill. Thousands. I don't have that many. I have a fraction, but I still have way more games than I need. I have more games than what you need. So just keep in mind, when you're buying board games for your young children, you can be really selective, be particular, and get exactly what you think is going to be the best fit for your family. Because even though board gaming is a relatively inexpensive hobby to have, everything still costs money and everything still takes up space in your home. And I watch a lot of videos about trying to unclutter your home. So we're just drowning in stuff, right? And it can become a burden. So I'm selective now with my games from the moral aspect. Is it good for my kids? Is it good for me to spend my money on this? Is this something that I want to house and store and take care of and clean and everything else? So hopefully these videos help, and I'm trying to get better at them each time. God bless. Have a great day.